I am recording to the cloud now. Someone introduce this show that's not me.
I just ate a bunch of cactus.
Mike, do it with your mouth full starting now. Don't finish chewing.
Hey everybody, welcome to Power Pals. Episode 190 fucking whatever. And I'm Mike Black and I'm great. And next to me on my screen is Avery Faith and she's wonderful. And below me is a little dollop of sweetness named Andrew DeWitt. And together we're Power Pals and we do nerdy, dirty, flirty, squirty shit. So get ready for it because it's starting right now.
That is true. That is true. What side is your appendix on?
Mine?
I
put
think
mine on the
you're
left.
right. Oh.
It's on my right side?
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You guys is probably on the right. I like to have mine on the left so I can have my wallet on the right.
Keep mine, yeah. Is Andrew looking up appendix?
Andrew went to look up appendix.
Appendix location. He's just never going to come back. His appendix just...
You're right.
You know that the only fun that the guy who makes medical books has is when it gets to appendix, he writes, "See appendix."
He's like,
he has himself a nice little chuckle. And then
yeah. Oh, those med students are going to hate this.
No, he goes, "That's enough fun for one day."
And then he chokes a squirrel to death or something.
Yeah.
Even it all back out.
The universe.
Well, for every good, there must be an evil.
I have had my joy, now sorrow.
Now I have lived a life. As he blows away a squirrel in a park.
Shouldn't be as funny as it is.
Yeah, he feeds a muffin to a whole bunch of pigeons, and then he goes, "I give it and I take it away," and then he blows away a squirrel with a handgun.
I'm liking this guy a little bit more the longer we talk about it. He's got real problems. It's weird. I realize I'm attracted to people that are far more fucked up than I am because it makes me feel better about me. If that guy existed, we would totally hit it off.
He goes into a 7-Eleven. He goes, "Take a penny, leave a penny." He puts 10 pennies in there, and they're like, "Oh, thanks." And then he's like, "Hold on," and then he shits on the floor.
What's great is for this, I'm picturing like a younger Werner Herzog.
Yeah. Except the entire time he does anything.
That type, you know.
He's always listening to everything turn. There is a season turn. Oh God. Yeah, he'll leave a really good tip at a Mexican restaurant, but then immediately have a bloody nose into all their napkins, leave them all over the fucking plate.
Pee all over the toilet.
Yeah. He has all squared up, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I like how fucked up his idea of balance is.
Yeah, a big tip that pees directly on the floor next to the toilet. He just pees directly on the floor as he whispers to himself, "Perfectly balanced," as all things should be.
Hey man, what are you doing? I'm restoring the balance.
Oh. Why are you in this? Why'd you come to this Mexican restaurant? I'm here to restore the balance. I'm here to restore the balance. Well, I went to the dog park. I taught your unruly dog how to sit. Oh, that's wonderful. I fed him an entire bar of chocolate while I was doing it.
He'll be dead within an hour.
Jesus. Consider our score settled.
Perfectly balanced. That's all dogs should be.
The circle is now complete.
The circle is
What
now
are you
complete.
talking about?
I have restored balance to this dog park.
This guy's the worst.
He talks the guy down off of a suicide jump, and then when the guy's like coming to him, he goes, "I think he's got a gun," and he just shoots the fucking guy. He just saying, "Why did you do that? I have restored balance to this area."
He will spend eternity in limbo. Dick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like this guy. I want more things. What other things could he do?
So many things. Just him trying to restore the balance on the 101 would be fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
Letting a bunch of people in and then plowing one of them over into the fucking oncoming traffic.
Yeah, yeah. He lets a guy in who's trying to like merge into the cut through to the 405, and everyone's like, "Don't let him in." He lets him in. The guy waves, and then he pulls up next to him and throws a gasoline can of fire into the car. The guy screams, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you do that?"
To end inequity.
I end inequity wherever I find it. One ridiculous idea at a time.
Shit. That guy is too much.
He's too hot to handle, too cold to hold. Do we have any questions for the Power Pals? And then also, do we want to do
didn't we have
questions
some sort of doctrine to read or something?
We did have an article. We had a homework assignment from Avery.
A homework assignment. It wasn't a homework assignment. It was just something
Avery,
you guys.
Avery came in as usual with her list of demands, treatises for us to read and approve.
Yeah.
We could talk about it. That's all.
I'm shooting for a check plus on this presentation. So.
Wait, what is it? I don't know anything about it.
There is a fellow who is suing Twitch for $25 million because he claims that they make like suggestive content too accessible, and that because of that he's driven his own life off the rails by spending all of his time and money following scantily clad. Yes, exactly. And that he wants like a list of 25 specific girls banned because they're just too sexy for this world. And then he also wants recompense because apparently one day when he was rubbing one out over one of these ladies, his load hit the monitor and apparently caused his entire computer system to short circuit. So
he basically wants court documentation that his load is powerful enough to shoot down a computer.
He has a computer destroying load. Exactly. Yeah, it really. And of course, this guy has a history of like litigating for any and no reason. You know, the whole thing just seems like, a headline grab. But
now, may I ask, because I'm sure the viewers would like to know, is the list of people that are too hot included in the article?
It's a whole court document. I also got like the whole court document. So in the article, it's not. There's a few pictures, but it's hard to tell if they're the actual girls or if it's just somebody going like, here's an example of the kind of fare you find on Twitch these days.
Right. If you could forward me the list. That would be
purposes.
For research.
But Mike, wouldn't it drive you crazy on Twitch because they can't show nudity on Twitch? They're just sitting there in their underwear.
Yeah, and he's claiming
right, but then you Google them separately with the word nude, and then their nudity shows up. Everyone knows this.
It's there.
They've all done nudity, I promise you.
That's what OnlyFans is for.
Yep.
Yeah, but then you have to buy an OnlyFans.
I don't
Yeah,
have
that's his point. That's his point. Is that because of this like culture of sort of easy access or like the lure of all that stuff, that now he's spending all of his time and money on these
OnlyFans and that sort
exactly on these girls and their channels and all the peripheral accessories that go with
and he
that.
can't even enjoy it because he's blown his computer.
Exactly. He wrecked his computer. He's got jizz on his monitor.
You think that happens every time? He's like, oh no. Oh,
Oh,
and just
Right
like a fucking fire hose in like Scary Movie. Remember when that guy finally busts his nut in Scary Movie and plasters her to the ceiling? She's like glued to the ceiling.
I
He
think
fires
he
like
does like
straight
a
through the Kleenex.
yeah. I think he does like a Dexter room layout, where he has to lay plastic all over everything beforehand.
Dude, that guy needs some more zinc then. Like he's going to be vitamin deficient if he busts and loads that huge.
Yeah.
That is a liability,
Can't be painting rooms every time, buddy.
That's like there was some guy who got like he would get a boner so big that it would make him pass out.
Yeah, it was that guy in all those memes, and then he died.
Yeah.
He died from it.
Oh
From
no!
Big Dick?
Yeah, he died of having a huge dick.
Because it got so hard one time he passed out so bad he died?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
And the balance has been restored.
You may have a big dick, but you will die from it.
On his 22nd birthday.
I think he had heart problems too. So
I bet he did.
the heart problems were exacerbated by the fact that he was filling a Foot Locker with blood in between.
I'd like to think he had metaphorical heart problems as well.
Yeah, right?
Wandering around with a fucking donkey leg,
You can only love him for one thing.
The picture of him, the last picture of him alive, he looks pretty tired to have a huge dick, though. He's
Yeah.
like sitting on the edge of a hotel bed, like whatever. I guess this is my life.
Yeah, that's great.
The charm is worn off.
Yeah. This was a monkey's paw for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have
It
put his
actually
dick in a
looks like a
painting.
monkey's paw.
He should have put his small dick in a painting and then had a big dick. And as long as nobody looked at the little dick painting, he would be okay.
Why does it have to have fingers?
Why do you have this painting of a tiny mutilated penis up in your attic? No! No! Oh no, it's turning into a pretty decent looking dick. Oh wait, what's going on downstairs?
Way too much dick in this painting.
Oh man, yeah. What goes around comes around, I guess. You can never tell.
So yeah, that's that guy is stupid. That's suing.
I think that he doesn't have these actual problems. I think this is a internet troll, because there's also there's a subgroup of guys who are really, really mad about hot women online.
Yeah.
They really fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
weird.
Me.
It is weird. I understand. I almost understand it, and then it starts to fly away from me. Like I can't get my mind exactly on the point of view.
I mean, it has to be a combination of like rejection, of them wrapping that up with either they literally approached that girl and she rejected them, or it just reminds them of a similar rejection situation, and then I combine it with like it's sometimes difficult for men to see women succeed in general. And I think that in particular, like if it were someone who, like if you were an engineer and there was another female engineer, like it's sort of difficult, you might pick at her credibility, but she still is what she is. When you see a girl doing better than you by like acting skanky or whatever, I mean, that's if the wrong wires are crossed, I can see that like just being like, I cannot.
Especially if you're one of the people writing the checks to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of don't. I don't like hot gamer girl nonsense. Like it's not something that appeals to me specifically.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's at the point now where enough people I know play video games that I don't have to be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
a woman who plays video games. Like, I mean,
Holding
it's just
a
like,
controller. Ugh, yeah.
oh, dude, do you see that dude? She was playing fucking Call of Duty and she had her titties out. Like, what the fuck is that, man? It's bordering on insane. Is what it is. Like to think. First of all, everyone plays video games now. You know, like that wasn't the case. I could see that being the case when I was in high school, and I was like, oh my god, the chick at the comic book store likes comic books and she's my age. I have to date her. I remember being like, I have to date her, you know, and then being like, what is her name? What school did she go to? You know, and then finding out later that, you know, when we were hooking up in college, that she lets her butthole get duty wads all over it and doesn't do anything about it, you know?
Oh.
So you have to deal with that. You have to deal with that, and you never expected it, did you? You know, what goes around comes around, and balance was restored.
Theme of today's episode.
But here's the deal.
I would like to think as soon as you discovered her booty mounds that Werner came in the room and was like, there, the balance has been restored.
Dude, it was very depressing. It was a very depressing, horrific moment. It was a horrific sexual experience. Like imagine, because I love butts so much, you know?
Yeah,
and
you really do.
Even if it was a filthy butt, I would have been almost okay. You know, I would have been okay, probably. It's the fact that she was like, are you ready to eat my ass? And then spreads it, and there is toilet paper hanging off her asshole. This is a horror show. That's a horror movie, Mike. That is a real, honest-to-God horror movie.
Now, wait, was it just a little toilet paper, or was it
no,
a whole
Mike, it was,
ordeal?
It was so much. It was so much. Mike, it was so much that my jaw dropped. Like, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe that who I thought was my dream girl up until now, who was about to do the thing I love the most in the world, which is spread her butt for me to eat it, is now ruining all of this. She's ruining all of it, all at once, immediately. And I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure out how she didn't know what was going on. I mean, it was a mess. It was a real mess. It was a mess, Mike. Anyway, so yeah, so that guy probably didn't have that happen to him. But but the thing is, by the end of college, did someone just fart?
No.
No.
Dude, I swear I heard a fart. Guys, if you're listening and you heard a fart, tweet at us.
I think what you heard was me going.
Oh, okay, that is
because I made like a weird face.
Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's it. It definitely sounded like a fart. So, but after college, it was like there were more and more nerd girls, you know, and it wasn't like the thing where you're banking on. It's like, oh God, I hope they've read Last Unicorn, you know. Then, like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, then they could be my soulmate because they read this fucking book that I read, you know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now everybody plays video games.
Yeah, everyone, like, so much of what I liked as a kid that was shunned is so mainstream now that I have no idea if we would get along. You know, like when I see someone, like, they could love comic books just as much as I do, or action figures or what have you, and we could still be bitter fucking enemies.
Yeah. I remember there was a moment that when my roommate and I were still living together, and we were at what was it, Disneyland, and we had just been playing Hearthstone the night before, like all night, just sitting in our living room back and forth. And while we were at Disneyland, we overheard a group of kids like right next to us talking about Hearthstone. And it's like we kind of looked at each other like, oh, do we want to like jump in on this conversation and like try to make some friends? But she and I are both a little socially you know, closeted.
Yep.
Yep. So we're like, let's listen for a while and judge these people. And yeah, within like 2 sentences, there was like a, oh yeah, brah. That was just like, oh, never mind. Like, crisis averted. Good thing
Yeah.
we say something and then be stuck with these people at Disneyland all day, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
recently had these guys online that I'm in a like toy collector group with. We got in a big fight over the Michael Keaton Batmans, over which one was good and which one sucked.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this changes this friendship now. Where like now, in a way, it was better because it was like now I know what shit to recommend to them and what shit not to recommend to them. Basically, if I really like it, they're gonna fucking hate it,
Yep.
and if I really hate it, they're gonna love it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was at a pool party like before coronavirus,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking to some dad who was into literally everything I was into, but he was such a weirdo piece of shit that I remember thinking to myself, I don't care how much this dude has in common with me. I'm not going to be this fucker's friend. Like, I cannot be this motherfucker's friend. He's too weird. He's too weird and like off-putting and like in that dangerous way where you're like, uh-oh, you know?
Have you ever had that where you know that you have no intention of being friends with someone, but they keep talking with you and you can tell they're kind of wanting to become friends with you?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, how do I turn this off?
Yep.
How do I stop? And then like what'll happen to me is I'll start getting really glib because I just want them to go away. And they process that as more fun.
Like familiarity. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, oh, he's being aloof and I like it. And it's
Now we have little personal jives. All right. That means we're
exactly. And it's like, and then you're friends with that guy for 7 years.
His name is Jerry Rocha.
I won't name
This is not what I intended.
The balance has been restored.
Working in retail so long, you get a lot of that because you get a lot of that sort of like you recognize like the shop girl or whatever that you go to. So I won't name names, but there are people who are, hanging around from jobs that are sort of like, I befriended them when I couldn't say no because it was like a work thing and you had to be nice. And now it's 10 years down the line and you're like, oh, you think this is like a friendship now. All right. Okay. Oops.
Yeah. Remember in season 4 of Arrested Development when who is it? Which guys?
You can have my friends.
He goes, I don't want these.
I don't want these.
That fairly weak season, but one of the best lines of the season.
But yeah, and just that they're all well within earshot.
Yeah.
Of them saying it made it so much better.
I don't want these.
I don't want these. So good.
Dude, yeah. I've always been distrustful of being lumped into some kind of like crew too soon, where they're like, oh, we're a tight crew when you run with us. I'm like, this isn't real. There's no crews.
Right. What?
We're gonna call you Crafty because you do a lot of arts and crafts.
Have nicknames.
I don't want that.
At Dunkin' Donuts, my manager called me Mr. Brains because I was reading once. But he was pretty stupid dude. There's a lot of stupid people working at Dunkin' Donuts.
They're calling you
Now,
Einstein.
was this the friend of yours that offered to cut a man's head off for you?
Yeah, it was. It was Phil. He said he cut that guy's head off for me behind a dumpster. But yeah, when he saw me reading, he's like, "What are you reading?" And I was like, "Oh, it's for this paper I have to write. I'm gonna call you Mr. Brains."
Okay, you do that, Phil.
Yeah.
Mr. Brains. Mr. Brains, the man who, yeah, he called me Mr. Brains, and I would take donuts out of the trash and eat them.
I've seen you take tacos out of the trash and eat them, but I've never seen you take donuts out of the trash.
Well, the donuts were fresher. The thing is, you have to throw away all the donuts at night that the people didn't buy, so you might as well just take yourself home a trash bag full of donuts.
Yes.
That is a quick
That
way
is a
to put
Mr.
on.
Brains lesson.
Yeah. It's also a math equation. Andrew started his summer job at 180 pounds and ended his summer job at 250 pounds. How much weight from Dunkin' Donuts did he put on?
How many trash bag donuts does that equate to?
How many trash bags full of donuts? Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd eat the fuck out of those trash bag donuts.
First,
I
we have
loved
to
them.
figure out how many donuts per trash bag on average.
It's probably
Man.
100 donuts per trash bag.
If I ran a donut place, at the end of the day, I would be like, hey, trash bag donuts,
Trash bag of donuts.
50% off.
It's a grab bag, you know.
And then the board of health would shut me down immediately.
You're sitting in your car. You're sitting in your car with your trash bag donuts, and you're like, "Trash bag donuts, and the living is easy." Just eating donut after donut and trash in your car, singing to yourself.
And the balance is restored.
Wait, nothing bad happened to me. Yes, it did. You're eating
Buddy.
You are literally eating donuts out of a trash bag in your car, singing alone. Everything bad has happened to you.
It's amazing. Oh, this man is unbalanceable.
This is what I've been working for.
I tried to trick him into eating licking girls where they shit, and it still didn't work. He loved it. He likes eating. He's a human raccoon. Just feed him garbage. So this guy, I think it's because it's these dudes who hate hot gamer girl stuff. They just hate it.
Yeah. I mean,
And I don't know
kind
why.
of get it, but
I only get it in that
I
only
get
get
it
it-
because I understand that there's spending way too much time and too much money, but it's not the girl's fault.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, if I thought this were anything like serious, I'd be way more bothered. I mean, it's obviously
Right.
a whole thing. But if this were actually, a guy trying to accuse women or a platform for supporting them for being bad because it's like it's their fault that he wants to bone them, is like,
Yeah,
that's some old like Salem witch trial shit, where like, oh man,
absolutely.
I popped a chubby, she must have bewitched me, like
Yeah.
Yeah, I've also never understood. So anybody under 30 who is a gamer, any nerdy dude under 30 who's a gamer, he has access to finding women that are into the same shit that he's into. Right now,
Yeah.
he can find them. Now, it's not my fault. Dude, this is something you run into, too, with these types of guys. These guys also seem to all have incredibly high sexual standards, too. Like, these are the type
Right.
of guys who look like a truck ran over their face. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, yeah, well, I'd
oh,
maybe let her,
she's a 7 at best, and you're like,
yeah, I'd maybe let her suck my dick, but that's about it. And you're like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This girl put her mouth on your stinky penis. Your soul would fly to heaven like in a cartoon. Like, it would just fucking check out like a fucking Bugs Bunny soul. Just leave it. It lights out. You're done. You're done. She puts her mouth on your rancid little penis. You know, like, get out of here.
Your rancid little penis. That's really what he's suing over.
Really?
That he has a rancid little penis.
I think it's because whatever his Google voice activation when he busted his nut went too small. Too small. All programs shut down.
Clippy popped up and was like, "It looks like you're trying to masturbate, but you don't have a penis."
It looks like you're trying to masturbate with a lowercase penis. You should try a capital letter penis. What a sick bird by Clippy.
I wish Clippy did that. He just showed up every day on people's computers and just burned the fuck out of them.
Oh, I saw a great thing about like that kind of stuff. It was some Excel joke that I thought was super funny on Twitter recently. Oh, it was the incels and Excel. Like the did you see that, Avery? Did you see that?
No.
Yes.
Do you remember what it was? Do you remember what the exact joke was? Oh, yeah. You know, I got it. Incel. It's like the commonality between incels and Excel, the document, the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Not understanding what dates are. I think that was it.
Yeah, it was like a Venn diagram where the crossover is like.
Let me see if I can find it. It was really clever for people who love.
I bet you can do a whole bunch of those.
People who like Microsoft Office are gonna love this joke.
I know, what a perfect, what a niche. Like, if you're into making fun of people nerdier than you, but also really love Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
I found it. I found it. I gotta do the screen share on it. It's good. Let's see here.
It's good.
Yes, that's it.
Incel and Excel, incorrectly assuming something is a date. Oh, it's fucking perfect. Jesus Christ. As someone who had to work with Excel for like years at Chicago Public Radio, that is on the money, man. That was a nightmare when you're trying to turn everything into a fucking date. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
As someone who knew a guy who used to sort of like advertise himself as like, hey, if you need a ride to the airport, I can give you a ride to the airport. But then if you were a pretty girl who like took like pre-Uber days, but then if you took him up on the taking a ride to an airport, he'd start talking about like, he'd treat it like a date, and he'd be like, yeah, so like so-and-so and I went out the other day and da-da-da. And you'd kind of talk around the conversation and get to like, wait, you took her to the airport, right? And it's like, oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we had this long conversation. It was like an hour. It was like, yeah, you were in traffic. Like, you didn't have a choice.
Oh yeah.
That is so pathetic. That is the worst. Michael Scott does that on an episode of The Office where he buys that fucking coffee machine. Mike, do you remember this one?
Yeah. Yes.
And that the red-haired chick comes in and he like wants to give her a ride home from work, and he's like cleaning out his car and all this shit. Dude, how sad was that shit? And then Dwight's like, do you love her, Michael? He's like, I don't know. It's too soon to tell.
It's too soon to tell.
Oh God, that has some of the creepiest and most realistic sexual harassment I've ever seen in an office setting. Where he like gets her that he like is like, is there anything you need? Anything? And she's like, I don't know. I guess a cup of coffee, like just to get him the fuck out, you know. And then he brings her a cup of coffee or whatever, you know. And then she drinks it, and he's like, oh, where's your coffee? She's like, oh, I drank. He's like, oh, guzzle it all down, you greedy little thing. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. You never say guzzled it all down, you greedy little thing. It's so fucking,
which one of you little piggies are to the coffee?
Yeah, exactly. So fucking awful.
It is awful. Let's get to some questions because we've only got about 10, 15 minutes left.
Oh gosh.
Oh
Okay.
wait, before we do that, can I just mention I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and that game is fucking crazy good. So
Tsushima.
Tsushima. I said sushimi.
One of the one is sashimi. One of the questions is, what's the best game everyone has played this year? So Ghost of Tsushima for you, Andrew. And that's from Omega Cloud, Jake Dunnan, and he says, "Love you 3. Love you too, Jake."
Thanks, Jake. Divinity: Original Sin. It's a masterpiece RPG. It's so good. Ooh. Divinity: Original Sin 2, so good. Really, 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 really good.
What's it about?
It is you are a sorcerer and you are exiled to a prison island where they keep sorcerers, and you have to escape. And it's dope as shit.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
What about your? Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew.
Oh no, I was just saying I highly recommend it.
My favorite game of this year.
Yeah, I was going to ask what your Ghost game was about because I've seen it getting over, and I don't know.
From what I've seen, it's a very atypical sort of Ronin story about a samurai whose master is killed. But I've only played about 10 minutes so far. But one of the things that I loved about it right off the bat was you can choose your difficulty, but you can also choose your experience where you can play it in color and dubbed into English, or you can play it black and white in Japanese with subtitles. And
that's really cool.
And they actually call it Kurosawa mode. And I was like,
oh, dude,
there's no way I'm not playing it this way. That's too fucking cool. You know, and you can see clips on my Twitter of just how beautiful it looks in black and white. And I'll be excited to play a second run through in color after this. But so far, I'm really, really impressed. Also, swordplay is a real tricky thing in video games to get right. And I've only had a little bit of experience so far, but I feel like they are definitely on the right track with how to do that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's only a few games that do it. I think the Dark Souls series is probably the best at it. But yeah, it's not. Skyrim definitely doesn't do it well. I mean, there's a lot of games that do it pretty atrociously. You know,
Skyrim is the one element that I would say keeps it from being a perfect game, is the combat.
Yeah, it's a real stinky shit ball.
It is.
Wow.
It's the stinkiest shit ball. Like the kind you might find in a girl's ass who likes comic books.
Dude, everything else about her was great. She'd sell me Bondage Fairies hentai, and talk about how much she loved it. Like, we were on the same pages about everything. And then, for whatever reason, she missed the memo to not have duty wad toilet paper shit hanging out of your ass right before you try to get your guy to put his tongue in it. Like, I don't know how she missed it. I don't know who's responsible for this.
I think we all know who's responsible for it.
I say the parents are to blame.
Young Werner Herzog is who's responsible.
So, Avery, what about you? What about you?
I haven't played a ton of new stuff. I played a really cool game called Lifeless Planet that you can play through in a really short period of time, and it was a lot of fun. It's my kind of puzzle. It's like a puzzle platformer kind of thing. Really gorgeous with a really awesome soundtrack, and one of those kind of like cool sad stories that unfolds as you go through it. So that was really cool. And then I've also been getting lately into Dead by Daylight, which is like the sort of like the counter. They're not by the same company, but Friday the 13th is the Jason game. This is the one that's like for all the other killers and stuff.
And, cool.
Yeah, and it has
Did you get like the deluxe edition that has like the Michael Myers stuff?
Yeah, it's got Michael Myers, Leatherface, Freddy, like the Jigsaw, like pig face girl. It's got Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. like a really cool like a mummy character who like spits like a plague on you. It's really awesome, and it has it has quite a few different mechanics than Friday. And
Yeah.
when I first played it, I played it alone, and just like the learning curve was too steep. But I've been playing it lately with actually one of our listeners, Dirty Diggler, and it's got really, really cool mechanics and a lot more like kind of teamwork based things. There's not as much to do. You know how like in Friday, there's like lots of options like, oh, fix the generator or call the cops.
Right.
But in this, there's like one main goal, and then, you know, the killer can basically wipe you all out. But it has just so much more variety and, you know, so much more customization for both the killers and the survivors. So, and it's just a lot of fun. So I've been having a lot.
Cool.
And it's cool because it's a couple years old now. Like cracking into it feels like there's a lot to go into. You know, and another big perk it has over Friday is, I mean, it's still in development. So, you know, like, it's not kind of stagnated, which as much as I love Friday, it's been the same game for like 2 or 3 years now. So
yeah, that legal thing really fucked them up. And I think they could have gone out with a bang, but that just totally screwed that game up. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I got it free on PlayStation Plus or whatever a couple years ago. I think it was at least like a year ago, and I just kind of sat on it because I so preferred Friday. And when we were all playing Friday together, it was just so. We were doing it so often that it was like there was kind of no point in going and learning like a whole new system.
Right, because I was aware of it too, and I was just like, I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah. If you're ever kind of craving that like Friday feeling again, you know, but don't want to go back to Friday, it's definitely a really good option. And lots of cool and I mean the killers, there's so much variety. Like, you know, in Friday it was just like the Jasons had like, oh, this one can run faster, or this one has a better you know, like hiding ability. But this is like each killer has like very distinctive kill methods, and, you know, stealth killer or a killer who does, you know, like the intoxication thing. It's very cool. So
that's awesome.
Highly recommended for sure.
Yeah. Like I've been playing Predator, as you guys know.
Oh yeah.
And that's the same developer that did Friday, but this time it seems like they got all the legal clearance that they need, and they brought Arnold Schwarzenegger into the game. They've been adding new different types of predators. Like they just added the samurai predator and like different weapons and stuff. It desperately needs more maps, because right now it's been the same 3 maps forever. And that's the one big thing that needs to change. But I love that the people on the human side, if they are smart people, it's a pretty even match for military guys versus one predator. But if the predator is really, really on the ball, he can still wipe out a whole team no matter how good they are. And so it's a lot of fun to fuck around in that world, you know.
That's cool. It looks cool too. Like all the stuff they're adding looks really cool. It must be that maps just take fucking forever to program compared to just throwing out a couple new character models and stuff, you know?
I guess, and they're using like big chunks of jungle and stuff like that, and you have to make it work for the military guys, but also work for the predator to bound through trees and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the way that character moves, like the way the predator moves through the forest, just the way he navigates through it is amazing. Like when you're actually playing it,
the tree like navigation was so
cool.
Like
the way you jump from tree to tree, and just being able to turn invisible at the drop of a hat, and the way you can stalk characters and stuff like that. You like, as powerful as you felt playing Jason, it's 10 times better as a predator. Just the no matter what arsenal you have, if you just have like the wrist blades, you can still jack a team up really bad if you know what you're doing.
That's awesome.
It's a lot, and that they throw in random, military uh, I want to say, forgetting the term, I want to say NPRs, but that's not it. Non-playable characters.
NPCs.
NPCs.
Yeah. Yes. And that on the surface, the military team is just there to deal with a military operation, and that the Predator can come and just fuck up those guys first before the military even gets there and then wipe them out is amazing. They put a lot of thought into that game.
I was gonna say that was the one thing that I like about Friday more than Dead by Daylight, is that Friday definitely feels more like a love letter to horror movies.
Yeah.
And to the experience. Like when you're playing Friday, you feel like you're in a Friday the 13th horror movie, whereas opposed to Dead by Daylight, it's its own game. And I mean, yeah, it's terrifying, and there's a lot of the, you know, the anxiety and that, and then the tension kind of things, but it doesn't feel like a movie.
Right. It's not that same amount of love, like kind of when they put like a movie character into Mortal Kombat, they'll do some cool stuff with it, but it's mostly a cash grab. And you know, it's okay. But if you really want, like, I don't know if you guys ever played Alien Isolation. That game, if you like the first Alien, it's a great game. If you're an Aliens fan, you're gonna fucking hate it. But if you like the first Alien, it's a lot of fucking fun. And there's so much love put into that game that by the time it gets to the end, you're like, oh, I wish this wasn't fucking over. Yeah. But you feel like you've fucking earned it by the time you get to the end too.
Do you think that's why the Predator game has so much stuff being done for it, because they didn't get to do it for Friday the 13th?
I think they really learned their lesson and covered their bases on it way ahead of time. They got like, you know how Gary Busey's son was in the Predator?
Yeah.
The recent one. They got him to do like all the like voice recordings for that set up like the story of the game. And then when they brought Arnold in, they had him do like a half-hour telling of what his character has been doing up to now.
Oh,
and
cool.
Like they did all of that shit well before release. And they were like, here's a roadmap, and this is roughly what we have planned for the next year. Of like, we're going to release a certain weapon on this day, we're going to release a certain character on this day, a certain skin on this day. And Friday had a similar thing, but it was a lot more nebulous, you know, and very vague. This one is more like, on this day you're getting this type of thing, on this day you're getting this type of thing, you know.
If Friday had been able to develop, you can kind of see a picture of like what it would have been like in Predator. But even then, I still feel like Predator couldn't have been advanced as it was without like the learning experience of Friday. Because
exactly.
For sure.
And in a way, I'm kind of glad that what happened to Friday did, because they could have kept milking that for a while. Yeah. And we might not even have Predator for another couple of years.
Yeah, and it seems like there's more to do. In the world of Predator, there's more gameplay to do than there is necessarily in the world of Friday the 13th.
And I think, I'm not certain, but if I had to guess, since it's all under the Fox banner, is that the game will have its price drop around Christmas, but they're also going to add like either a DLC that either adds directly onto it or is kind of like a game within the game, like they did with Mortal Kombat Aftermath, where it'll be Predators versus Aliens, and you can choose between all three. And they'll have like some of the weapons from the Aliens franchise and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's my guess, is that they're going to do that around Christmas.
I wouldn't be surprised. I definitely wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I always thought the Predator mythology was cool, and it's worked for video games for a while. You know, think about how many video games they've done for Friday the 13th. You have that shitty Nintendo game, and then the only decent game after that was the one we played. You know?
Right.
So like, you can't do a whole lot. I think they did about as much as you can do with it. Like
Yeah, like the only thing that was left really was Jason X, the Jason in
which
space.
I really would have loved to have that skin and do
Well, and the
stuff
map.
in
I
space.
think the map would
The map would have been off the hook too.
Yeah.
And beyond that, it would have been Freddy versus Jason, but I don't know if they ever had the legal clout to get that done.
I mean, that would be amazing to see from a gameplay perspective, to see one person's Freddy, one person's Jason. They're both killing people who are trying to escape and trying to kill each other. It would be very fun.
Confusing and fun.
It'd be confusing as hell, but
you would need a lot more players too.
Yeah, you would.
It's like if you killed every counselor or whatever, it would be equal to like just killing Jason or Freddy if you were Jason or Freddy, so it's like you kind of choice of if you wanted to pick off the guys and sort of compete for them, or go for the big kill. So yeah, it could totally work. But
yeah, if they made it like the movie where it was basically a turf war between the two of them over who got those souls.
Yeah,
man, I think that would be, God, I kind of want to play it now.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. I still wish they would do a puppet master, so you get to play different puppets and send them around.
Oh,
that would be cool. Fucking sweet as hell. Just because I love those little killer puppets, man.
That could very much be its own game.
We were calling on Dead by Daylight, like who would be another cool killer, and we were like, dude, Chucky would be awesome because one of his killer perks would be that he's so fucking tiny that a lot of the map is like in mist or has like knee-high shrubs and stuff, and if you were a knee-high killer, that would be your whole benefit, would just be like, hi, here I am.
The best moment in Ready Player One was when someone gives him a weapon and he throws it out and it's fucking Chucky, and you see like 4 or 5 of the bad guys get wiped out all at once, but you're seeing it in reality, so you're not actually seeing Chucky do it. You just see him lunge at the first guy, and the guy's, oh, that's fucking Chucky, and then you just see the screen getting lit up by all the fuckers that he's killed.
Yeah, man, that would be awesome. I'd love to be Blade in my little trench coat with my knife arm, hiding in a bush and slashing people's ankles and shit, dude. That would fucking rule. That would be
in my little trench coat.
Little tiny trench coat.
A little sequined hat, my little.
My boots.
Guys, we got to wrap it up. It's past time, so we're gonna have to archive our questions for our next go around.
Way to go!
Jeez,
way to go us for getting fun,
having fun.
We'll archive those and we'll get to them. We promise, everybody. What was this show called?
Avery?
The Power Pals. I mean, I don't know if something's changed, but last time I checked, we were.
Yeah, it was called the Power Pals, and it is called the Power Pals.
Okay, good. Ooh,
but we call it the Finance Associates.
Okay. What did I come up with that name for our pilot? The Southern California Athletic Association.
Yes. Southern California Athletic Association.
That's amazing.
That's our new name.
As no one was athletic at all. Avery, where are you on social media, and what do you want to plug?
I'm on social media, Sick Horse, with a 0 instead of an O. And I've got a little website. It's just a bunch of my curiosities and crafts and bloggy type stuff. rabbitholereviews.com.
And Mike, what about you?
I am at Mike Black Attack on all social media. I also do a really fun podcast called The Nighttime Show.
Yeah, and I've been on 2 of them, and they were super fun, man.
Yes, they are.
My name is Andrew DeWitt, and I'm here to say I love Fruity Pebbles in a major way.
Even though you're not allowed to have them.
Nope.
He loves Fruity Pebbles in a major way, remember? Because Fred Flintstone always gets tricked by Barney.
I do remember.
That's right, he does.
I'm Grandmaster Rapper, and I'm here to say I love Fruity Pebbles in a Manger.
Holy shit. Grandmaster Rapper.
Oh man, you can find me on social media at DeWittiot. I'll be on Twitter less, but I'll still be there, but mainly Instagram. And watch Misery Index on TBS.
But don't you have other podcasts as well, Andrew?
I do, and they all listen to them. So.
Oh, okay. Well then, no need to beat them over the head with those.
If you guys want to become a Patreon member of our other podcasts, you may. But you probably hit me up for details if you want to know those. I have a sneaking suspicion some of you guys are familiar with them. So I will talk to all of y'all soon. I'm gonna hit stop recording.
Hit it.